Do you know someone that, in your opinion, is making a serious error in judgment? Yeah. Maybe they're about to marry the wrong person, or they're falling for someone who's maybe a really big charmer and you see through it, but they don't. Now, today we're talking to people who want to know if they're making the biggest love mistake of their life. Now, my first guest, Krista, says her husband, Matt's having an emotional affair with their adopted 18-year-old Russian daughter. Matt says Krista's always been jealous of everything and that this is just another example. Take a look.
Matt and I have been married almost 15 years. I fell in love with Matt because he was physically affectionate. We got involved in a church, and there was a family there who had adopted some kids from Russia and had met an older girl who was ready to age out of the orphanage.
When I was 2 years old, my mom died and I was given to an orphanage.
Her life just did not have a very good future. She was doomed for a life of drugs, prostitution. When we heard about Nadia's story, Matt immediately wanted to go rescue her.
To adopt Nadia was the right thing to do.
We adopted Nadia when she had just turned 15. My twins, Becca and Brienne, just turned 8. When Nadia became a member of our family, things changed. Matt would rather have Nadia as his wife than me.
You don't care that you treat her a whole lot more like your wife than you treat me.
I believe Matt's having an emotional affair with our 18-year-old daughter, Nadia.
Krista's idea that Nadia and I are having an emotional affair is ridiculous.
You just spent more time in conversation with Nadia than you have with me. I'm supposed to be your wife. I don't exist.
Krista's been jealous about many things in the past. Now Nadia is the next thing to be jealous about.
Matt showed favoritism toward Nadia from the beginning. Beck and Brienne knew it. They would ask me, why is Nadia Daddy's favorite?
Krista will get upset if I spend more than just a few minutes talking to Nadia.
I wish we could have a normal relationship. I'm really tired of my parents fighting and putting me in the middle.
When Nadia enters a room, Matt smiles. I see him light up, and that hurts. She definitely gets the physical attention. He hasn't touched me in months. I see him sneaking her hugs, tickling her, touching her, and a lot of it is behind my back.
As far as affection goes in my house, I am probably more physically affectionate with my biological children. The only time that I am affectionate with Nadia is when I give her a hug and tell her goodnight and that I love her.
Matt has not told me he loved me in months. There have been secret conversations of them conspiring. Matt had set up a secret email account for Nadia.
I gave Nadia a personal email account so she could have some privacy because Krista monitors absolutely everything that goes on the computer.
Matt had secretly given Nadia a cell phone. I found out there were over 400 text messages passed between them in just a couple of weeks. It looked like a couple of kids trying to have a secret relationship behind Mom and Dad's back.
Nadia and I sent each other a lot of text messages because that was the time that her and Krista were going through a lot of problems.
It's been very difficult for me not to view Nadia as the other woman.
I want to be a part of this family and not always feel like I'm making it worse. When that's all you hear and that's all you see, it makes me feel like it's all my fault. Many times I feel like I should just leave.
I don't know what to do to make Krista not feel threatened by Nadia other than just to never speak to Nadia again, and even then I don't think that would fix it. Dr. Phil, what am I supposed to do? All I want to do is be a parent, and my wife won't let me.
Well, I have so much to say to both of y'all that my head is just racing right now, honestly. It really is. But I want to hear from you guys first. You think that his affection, attention, energy, and emotion is displaced from you to her.
Correct.
Okay?
Absolutely correct.
But you didn't just start having problems when she came on the scene.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, you had problems for years before she came on the scene, correct?
Immediately after we got married, he completely withdrew affection, everything from our relationship. We just became roommates from day one almost.
Okay. What's your point of view here?
We have had some problems, but in the beginning, it's funny seeing over the years how the story that now is I instantly changed right after we got married. 7 years ago, we kind of had some problems in the beginning, and she said, I saw Matt changing. Then, a couple of years ago, it was in the first month I saw Matt change, and now the story is I saw Matt instantly change.
I've said that from the beginning. I've told many people for years that the morning after we were married, we were in a restaurant having brunch, and he looked at me different. He didn't talk to me. We had a one-night honeymoon, and we went swimming in the pool, and he didn't want to be with me. He wanted to get out and go shoot baskets. So okay. I've said for many years.
But if that's the deal, excuse me, because I want to respond to what you said before you move on to something else. I don't mean to interrupt you, but if that's the deal, whether it's you sort of changed across time or you suddenly changed or whatever, what are you dragging this innocent child into the fray for? Because there's one thing I know for sure. If there's an innocent party here, it's Nadia. She didn't ask for any of this. And you can say, well, she may have done some things she shouldn't have done, or she may have been complicit in this or that. She's a child. And you two have put her in the middle of problems that you had before she got here. And I can tell you one thing that you can absolutely write down for drop-dead definite sure. Kids have a way of blaming themselves for their parents' problems without help. And you're giving her a lot of help. This is Nadia right here. Hi. This has got to seem really surreal to you. You go from a Russian orphanage to the DrPhil show. Orphanage looks a little better right now, probably, in the middle of all of this. But let me just tell you, this isn't your fault. I've studied this. I've studied this situation here. And this isn't your fault. They had problems long before you got here. Do you understand that? Yes. I mean, really, do you know that this isn't, they're not having trouble between them because of you. You're just the most recent chapter. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm going to talk to you some more in a minute and ask you some questions. Now, what do we do here? What's going on? How do we get this out of the ditch?
That's a good question.
Do you want it out of the ditch?
Absolutely.
You want this fixed?
Absolutely.
Do you, or have you disengaged from your wife?
Oh, I've very much disengaged from my wife. When I come home, the new tactic that Krista uses is if I were to say something or I were to get in trouble for something, she immediately goes right to the kids and say, see, this is what it's not supposed to be like in a marriage.
Do you do that?
I have.
You drag the kids into y'all's marital problems.
The purpose of that isn't to drag the kids. The purpose of that is because, and that's just started within the last couple of months.
I don't care what the purpose is. What I know is what the result is. And the result is you're asking children to deal with adult issues over which they have no control. And my question is, do you do that?
I guess so then, if that's how you define it, yes.
Is there any other way? I mean, I'm a very results-based sort of guy.
I feel like my husband, Matt, is keeping me around to be his nanny and his maid. Matt's emotional relationship is with Nadia. I have questioned whether Matt and Nadia's relationship would grow into anything physically inappropriate.
If there's anything inappropriate going on, call the police. There's just nothing there.
Well, today we're talking to people who are worried they're making big love mistakes in their lives. Now, Krista thinks her husband is having an emotional affair with their 18-year-old daughter, who they adopted from Russia 3 years ago. Now, Matt opened a secret bank account to get legal advice about emancipating Nadia, and even gave her a private, secret cell phone so just the two of them could talk. Now, Matt says his wife is so controlling that he can't even parent his own children. Now, are we talking Woody Allen and Soon Lee here? Do you think that he is really inappropriately involved with her, or is it just that he's not invested in you?
Both, absolutely both. And other people have noticed, that he's, when we're in crowds, when we're with friends at church, he's off with Nadia. All the other couples are together, and there's Matt over with Nadia and the teens or whatever. So it's not just me. It's not just my eyes that are seeing it.
So you're saying other people think it's kind of creepy?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Are you being creepy?
No, sir, not at all. Not even.
'Cause I mean, I don't know. I'm not there. I'm just asking you.
I understand.
Because I go through the list of things here.
Sure.
And
But let me explain a few of those.
yeah, I wish you would.
You
had 400 text messages in 3 weeks between you and Nadia?
Sure. All right. Krista and Nadia were having a very difficult time last summer, incredibly difficult. And I had to figure out a way to get Nadia out of this situation, and I couldn't come up with anything. I just didn't know what to do. The best thing that I could come with was to get Nadia to go stay with my family 1,200 miles away and to finish out her school there. This was also at the same time that Krista sat down with me and all 3 of the kids, and she told me that she was leaving me. And, that was it. She said, kids, pack up your stuff. She made Nadia quit her job because she was leaving me. At that time, I went and I opened up my own personal bank account so I could get legal advice. I gave Nadia a cell phone because I was very afraid that she'd just pack up and go and I wouldn't have any communication with my kids whatsoever.
Okay.
There's lots of details mixed up in there.
Yeah, I understand. Do you agree that your conduct has at least the appearance of impropriety?
Absolutely.
Have you said that you are actively escalating hostilities with your wife?
Ooh.
That's a quote from you. I can go get it and read it back to you.
That I am actively...
Quote, actively escalating. In the context in which you said it was taking control of the money because that was your
the
power.
money. I'm sorry, I thought we were talking about Nadia.
No, I'm talking about hostilities between the two of you.
Yes. For me to open up my own bank account, yes, I knew that would create a huge uproar. But how else was, I had to go get some legal advice. I didn't know what was going on at this time. She tells me she's leaving me. She's having a horrible relationship with Nadia.
Do you want out of this marriage?
No, sir, I do not.
You don't want a divorce?
No, I do not.
You said, and I quote, I would rather talk to anyone rather than my wife, close quotes.
Yes, I did say that.
Then why stay married?
Because I want a healthy marriage and I want a healthy family and I want to be a husband and I want to be a dad.
He says that you have been jealous of everything that he's done. He wanted to play basketball, that's not okay. Special ops, that wasn't okay. Nadia, not okay. And that he's just done placating you. He's tired of the threats for you to leave. You've slashed his tires.
That was
You smashed his
years
laptop.
and
That was
years
9 years ago.
Yes.
That's what and the reason I'm bringing up something that happened 9 years ago is because I want her to know this hadn't got anything to do with her. You two have been doing this for a long, long time. You're following what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys have been at this for a long time. Do you want a divorce? You say no. Do you?
Absolutely not.
Okay, then do you understand that you've got to start behaving in ways that are constructive to the marriage and to the family? You say he's just a hunter. He's just out looking for something. He's manipulative. He's a workaholic. That he has said, I'm totally money focused. He can get violent. You said he's non-emotional, that he's a liar, and that he gets involved with porn on the internet. I mean, you both have a tick list of things that you criticize each other about, and then you don't talk about it and drag this child into the middle of this. That's not fair to her, is it?
No, sir. No. Krista can say that I treat Nadia as my wife, but that's ridiculous.
I asked Matt, what happens when she moves out? Are you then going to decide to be my husband again? And he very nonchalantly answered, I don't know, I'll have to think about that.
Krista says her husband used to shower her with affection. She says now he just ignores her and focuses all of his attention on their 18-year-old adopted Russian daughter, Nadia. Now, Krista thinks they're having an emotional affair. Now, you say you don't even know what that is.
No, sir.
An emotional affair. Well, I'm going to clear that up for you in just a second. Because there is a boundary, there is a line that can be crossed. You have behaved in ways that you can certainly make a case for don't look like a normal father-daughter balanced relationship. Would you agree?
I don't know that I would.
Okay, that's all right.
Because I have a great relationship with Nadia, and I also have a great relationship with our other children as well. I am very physical with my other two children. I wrestle with them constantly. not inappropriately, we're just out having fun. And that's kind of what I did when Nadia got here. And I was tickling her and wrestling with her in the beginning. And, you know, I kind of had to, and Krista really did help me along with that this is, you know, she's a little bit older. And since then, you know, Nadia and I don't touch.
Well, Matt, let me be very clear about something, because I don't want anybody to come away with the wrong impression. Not even Krista, in her most critical moment, suggests that you have any kind of inappropriate physical relationship with Nadia. And I've studied this whole thing. I see no evidence of that with you or you. I don't want anybody to think, oh, okay, here's what was going on. You don't think that, do you?
Absolutely not.
You don't think that. So I don't want to cast you in a bad light in that way. You said, no, I don't think I would agree that it's inappropriate. Well, let me tell you, it is inappropriate. And I'm going to tell you why it's inappropriate. Parents are a team. Parents close ranks. Parents communicate, and they parent as a team. You have gone behind Krista's back, taken Nadia into your confidence about Krista. You have talked behind Krista's back about your problems with her in the marriage with a child. That's inappropriate. That's violating a boundary. You shouldn't do it with your other daughters either, any more than you should be getting your kids and saying, see, this is how a marriage shouldn't be. You're using these children as pawns. You don't want to do that. That's why I say it's inappropriate. That's why she says it's an emotional affair. You are confiding things into your adopted daughter that don't belong in any child. That's between the two of you. That doesn't have anything to do with them. You two have grown apart. You have anger and hostility towards her because you think she's so controlling. You have anger and hostility towards him because you think he is punishing you by withholding affection and care and nurturance and attention, and you resent his doing that. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
You resent her controlling, you resent his withholding.
Absolutely.
The fallout is affecting Nadia and the other children as well. Trust me, they're not here, we're not focused on them, but they live with this. Children who grow up in an emotionally barren environment suffer from the coldness, from the distance, from the lack of affection and caring and touching and nurturance that goes on in a family like that. And I want to offer the two of you something. I want to offer the two of you some counseling on this. I want to arrange in your town for you to go and sit down and talk about rescuing this relationship between the two of you. The greatest gift you can give Nadia, the greatest gift you can give your other children is a warm and nurturant marriage. If I arrange that help, would you participate?
Yes, sir.
Would you participate?
Absolutely, but I have major fears about that. We've been in and out of counseling from the beginning and kicked out of some counseling because he won't do anything.
Yeah.
So I'm tired of being on this roller coaster.
But you may need to stay with the counselor that you've been seeing. We talked to them, we got permission. Maybe the two of you need to go in there together. Maybe we'll add to that or whatever. But what I'm saying is you need to heal this, not that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay? This isn't her fault, and both of you owe her an apology. I'll guarantee you. But let's focus on you. Can we make a plan for that? Please. And I've got some things that I want you to read and listen to, some very specific things.
Okay, that would be wonderful.
And I'm going to give those to you, and then we'll see where this goes. Okay?
Yes.
Today we're talking to people who are worried that they may be making a big love mistake. Now, my next guest, Jamie, recently met the man who killed her brother 12 years ago. She then says she fell in love with him. Now, her mom, Lori, says since she's already lost one child, that she supports her daughter in this area. Now, Sue, who has known Jamie and her mom for 25 years, says this needs to stop right now. Take a look.
My brother Mike was shot in the chest 12 years ago and left there to die. Mike and a friend of his were buying drugs. They were robbed and Mike was shot. I recently met the man responsible and have fallen for him. His name is Abaddon.
This situation here is very far from normal.
It feels very dangerous to me. Abaddon killed Lori's son and Jamie's brother, and that fact is never going to change.
I'm very afraid that you and Jamie are going to get hurt long term.
The day we got the call, that Mike had been shot was the hardest day of my life. We were all we had, you know, we were best friends.
You know, when Mike got killed, she was devastated as well as I was.
I needed answers, and I needed to heal. So I wrote Abaddon a letter in 2000. I told him I hated him for what he had done to my son and my whole family. When I first met Abaddon, we talked about Mike. He cried.
And I knew he was very sincere. He was hurting too.
He had actually written me asking for my forgiveness, and I came to a decision that I needed to face him. I needed to let go of some of the anger that was controlling my life. He apologized over and over again. He's so emotional. He's so, you know, sincere. He's so genuine.
I feel that there's a strong possibility that Abaddon is conning them. He sees two women who are both being very understanding and very kind, and I think there's the possibility that he is taking advantage of this.
This is Abaddon now. I mean, it's like a totally different person.
I started to realize that I had feelings for him after visiting him a couple weeks, and he exclaimed that he was feeling the same way for me. I have since told Abaddon that I loved him.
I don't know, James. I mean, I just know that I love you, and I don't ever want anything to happen to you.
You know, and I'm so afraid. It's like, is this a connection she's getting to her brother? You know, she feels like this is the only way she can have her brother back in her life.
I wish that people could see what I see in him. He is amazing. He's super intelligent. He's dedicated to improving the lives of kids now that are struggling.
Abaddon's been in jail all this time. I would certainly want to come off as remorseful and a changed person if it meant my freedom.
When I go to visit him, we talk a lot about his future, my future, our future together. It makes me feel good. Me and my mom are going to write to the parole board on his behalf to get him out.
He's not a killer.
I want Dr.Phil to tell them both to stop. He is where he should be for the crime that he committed.
Okay, now, I have a lot of questions for you, obviously. But Lori, your plan is like write the parole board, get him released, and then he comes and lives in your house?
Now, I had said at one point that, you know, maybe I could let him stay there till he got on his feet, mainly because he has no family in the area. They all moved to Georgia. And I just felt like, you know, he needed a friend rather than be set out in an area because I feel the prison raised him because he was 15 years old.
He killed your son.
I know he did. I know he killed my son.
But it's your job to take him in and raise him?
No, I had talked about it at one point, and then the more I thought about things, I said, no, I could never do that part.
Okay, I want to get Sue's perspective on this in a minute, but you say you're in love with him now.
Yes.
Your brother was your best friend.
Yes.
And this guy shot him over $30.
Right.
Killed him. Okay, and you've gone to see him, and you said you fell in love with him after seeing him in prison for 2 weeks?
No, it was about 5 or 6 weeks.
5 or 6 weeks? What, that's better?
Of visiting and corresponding.
Okay, does that seem odd to you?
It's very odd.
Let's forget for a minute that he is a convicted felon, murdered your brother. If you were just sitting here saying you met a guy who taught the elementary class next door to you 4 or 5 weeks ago and you were in love with him and wanted to spend the rest of your life with him, I'd say that was crazy. You can't know anybody in that period of time. Now let's add to it that, oh, by the way, he's in prison for murdering your brother. Doesn't it seem like there's a ball of yarn here that needs to be unraveled very, very slowly?
Well, I had been corresponding with him since 2002, frequently. So, I mean, in all out reality of the day that we started writing back and forth to one another, it started in 2002. Mike was murdered by someone that I recently developed very strong feelings for. The relationship that Abaddon and I have is different than any other relationship I've ever been in. He'd actually be a good role model for my kids.
I don't feel Jamie understands the magnitude of this type of relationship. Is there going to come a time where my grandchildren look at him and say, well, you're not our father, you killed my uncle? If they choose this path, it's going to be hell.
Jamie's brother was killed during a robbery 12 years ago. Her brother was her best friend. A few months ago, she went to visit the man responsible for the murder. She wanted to get closure, but she ended up falling in love with her brother's killer. It's a convict named Abadan. Her mother, Lori, is in contact with him too, and they're both willing to be supportive of him getting out of prison. Their family friend, Sue, is worried they're both getting conned. What are you seeing here? So you've known these two for a long time.
I've known them for a long time. I've known them both for over 25 years. And I see two people who were shattered by the tragedy of their son and their brother's death. And I see now that they never had closure. They never got any closure. Emotionally, Jamie especially, her emotional development was arrested by that tragedy of her brother. And I think they both feel they couldn't save Mikey. And maybe now they're trying to save Mikey through saving this person that killed him.
What do you say to that?
I don't think anybody really knows how I felt then or how I feel now, especially, when I was younger, Sue was around me a lot, but now, I'm feeling more like people want me to feel how they feel. And, in a way, if I don't, then I'm being reprimanded for it.
Jamie, I think you should be looking at the bigger, more important things in your life right now. You have two very wonderful children to raise, and I think that should be your first priority in your life, not getting involved in this mess, which you're going to have the reaction that I'm having. Like your mother said, it's going to be a very, very hard path. You've got children to raise. That should be your focus.
What's the biggest downside here that you see? You have to see that there are risks involved here, that there are problems. What do you see on the negative side of this?
My biggest concerns as far as the negative issues are how my family is feeling, my immediate family, my grandmother, my father, how I'm going to handle.
What's the biggest downside for you in the relationship? Y'all wrote to him, right, a couple of years ago?
I have to back up the whole story for you because I don't think people are understanding. I wrote to Abadan in 2000, and there was things that I needed to say. There's things I needed to know about my son's murder. The kid is very brilliant. He is very articulate. He's very educated. He's now going for his bachelor's degree, and he didn't quite know what to say to me in a letter. So he finally got the courage to respond to my letter.
Okay, what's your point?
No, the point is when I went there, I was looking to heal inside of me because the hate and the anger was consuming me. I don't want people to be under the impression that I drug my daughter up there to meet him, to make amends with him. This was my choice for me, what I did.
Yeah. I don't think anybody suggested otherwise.
Well, I feel that people are looking at it like, I'm looking for my son. That's not the issue here. I understand my son's
by people,
dead.
you mean Sue?
Right, and not just Sue, but my family, my mother, my sister. I'm not looking for my son. I understand my son's dead. What I'm looking for me, was the ability to heal, not to be hateful and angry because it was killing me.
Sure, and I think forgiveness, I admire your ability to do that. I think it is a healthy thing to do. I think it is a virtuous thing to do, a moral thing to do, and I admire you having the strength and courage to do that. I don't know if I'd have that ability, but I admire those who do, and I'm not saying that sarcastically at all. I mean that sincerely. God bless you for doing that. I think it is great. Forgiving them is one thing. You want to marry them.
If it continues to go the way it is, yes. It's not something I would do tomorrow.
And there are downsides here. And I asked you about them. You said, well, it's just people's reactions.
My emotions for Abadan don't change. They're not gonna.
Lori told me that she thought about letting Abadan stay with her when he is released. I said to her, what are you thinking? This is crazy.
I am afraid of the fact that I've lost my son. Am I going to lose my daughter if I don't agree to this?
Jamie has fallen in love with the man who killed her brother. He's still in jail for the murder, but Jamie and her mom believe that he's rehabilitated and are working on getting him released, or he's close to getting released, and they're not going to do anything to block that. Jamie feels guilty for being in love with the man who shot her brother, and her family and friends think the relationship is sick, twisted, and disgusting. Let me tell you what the problem is here. Just you can consider this, and you're going to make the decision. First off, you don't know this guy. You don't know him. You wouldn't know him if he wasn't in prison. You haven't been through the things that you have to do for relationship building purposes. Independent of the fact that he murdered your brother and is in prison, you haven't been through stress with him. You haven't been through fights and arguments with him. You haven't been through, nursing him when he's had the flu. You haven't discussed money and kids and future and parenting and religion and geography, all the things that go into. Well, you've only known him for, how many hours have you spent with this guy? How many total hours have you spent with him in person?
In person, it's roughly 16 hours a week.
Okay, so.
And it's been about almost 2 months.
Almost 2 months. Right. Okay. I stand by what I said. You don't know him yet. Right. Okay. Do you realize that the recidivism rate for prison, the likelihood that people get out of prison and wind up back in prison is extremely high?
Is that the same with juveniles now? Because he was only 15 when he did this.
No, you're right. It's worse for juveniles. So okay. Let me go back. It's worse for juveniles than it is for adults. But for all of them together, that there's a real high return rate. I mean, I've seen statistics as high as 80%. I've seen it as low as 60 or 70. But the likelihood that somebody that's been in prison is going to go back into the world and wind up back in prison is extremely high, which means they're going to commit another crime. And when you know someone in a structured environment, you don't really know how they're going to behave when they're not in this rule-bound, structured environment. When they get out and they can drink and they can do this and they can do that, I mean, all kinds of wheels can come off. And you don't really know him in a free world environment, do you?
No.
And so unless and until you knew that, you don't really know him. You say, well, he's wanting to develop a program for at-risk children. Let me tell you, he didn't invent what are called jailhouse Christians. A lot of people get religion in the emergency room, in prison, in places. You know, are you a Christian? I am tonight. You know, I mean, you just never know until you see what they do out in the real world. And I just ask that you consider slowing way, way down.
Well, that's the thing though, we're not rushing into anything. Like when he gets out, if he gets out, we're not moving in together. We're not doing any of that right now. You know what I mean? We are taking the steps of getting to know one another. I'm not looking at making any snap judgments and, you know, running off and marrying him in the next 2 years.
Well, will you consider what I've said and be sensitive to that and what's that? Because you've got children that you're going to be exposing to this man.
Right, that's why I'm taking it slow.
And you don't know who he is.
I do feel strongly for him now, yes. But like I said, I'm not rushing into anything. It's going to be a long process.
Okay.
I just, you know, my fear with this is, you know, the long range effects. Like you said, yeah, there's a lot you don't know about a person. Yeah. And, you know, he has been raised by the system, you know, and I'm scared for her, for my grandchildren, and that's my biggest fear. I don't want Jamie and the kids to go through a life of hell because she's not aware of what the long, you know, looking past your heart, your feelings, that type of thing. You know, that scares the hell right out of me.
And you're probably not through with your feelings about this either. You don't know how you're going to feel if you walk in one day and he's in a recliner with his feet up and a bag of chips and a beer, and all of a sudden you go, you know what? You killed my son.
Exactly.
And you're sitting here in my recliner with your feet up, and somehow or another that just doesn't seem right. Everything's about decisions. If you fear that you're making a huge mistake in your relationship, go to DrPhil.com and share your thoughts on the message boards. We want to know what your challenges are. We want to know what you're facing. And you two, we're not going to bail on this. We're going to stay hooked up, and we're going to see if we can find a common ground that everybody can be excited about, right? A role for everybody, proper boundaries, everything in a good, healthy way. And we're going to have an open mind about that and do it. And you're going to keep it slow, take this a step at a time, and recognize that until you see him in a lot of different environments, you really don't know him or how you're going to react, and you're going to take that a step at a time.
Yes.
Kids are first priority, right?
Oh, of course, always.
Absolutely. And I'll bet you Sue's going to keep a close eye on all of this. Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.